Hey guys. Okay, I'm eating breakfast. So I'm just going to talk to you while I'm eating. In case you care what I'm eating, I have a piece of gluten-free toast and two poached eggs and some tomatoes. It's delicious. So that's what you'll see me eating. Okay, so I get lots and lots of questions about carbs because there's so much in the media about, are carbs good? Are carbs bad? How late in the day can you eat carbs? What should be your carb, protein, fat balance, like proportions? And it's confusing. The things have, oh, good morning, Nancy. The information has gone back and forth about what you should do. There's new fads out there all of the time. But I can tell you this, I eat carbs. And I only recently switched to eating gluten-free. I don't eat gluten-free all the time. But when I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, that's one of the things that can hinder thyroid health if you have an issue. So if you don't have a problem with gluten, don't eat gluten-free. That's what I would say about that too. But okay, carbs are necessary for your body to work. Carbs break down into glucose. Glucose is what your brain uses to function. Like it doesn't function on fat and it doesn't function on protein, it functions on glucose. So carbs are necessary. Our problem comes in weight gain and inflammation, and all of those things happen when you have too much of any of the food groups. So if you eat too much protein at a time, it gets stored as fat in the body or excreted. If you eat too much protein, oh, I said protein. If you eat too much fat, it gets stored. So I talk to a lot of people too, this is kind of going on a tangent, who drink just protein shakes. Here's the thing, your body can only absorb so much protein at a time. So you have to look at how you're spreading your protein out or your carbs out or your fats out throughout the day. Because there's no point in eating a ton of protein at one setting because your body can't absorb it all. Same thing with veggies. I know a lot of people who don't really like veggies who will wait and like try to eat it all in a salad at dinner. You just won't absorb the nutrients because your body can only take in so much at a time. In terms of protein, like if you've heard of like the meat sweats, that's literally because your body is trying to break down more protein than it can. So like if you eat a steak that's a bigger serving size than you need, your body like goes into overload trying to process it, and like the meat sweats are a real thing. So with carbs, it depends on your goal, how active you are, and what your current weight is in terms of what you need for a balanced diet. I always recommend 40, 30, 30. 40 is carbs, 30 protein, 30 fats, because it balances out. And people will say to me, well, how can you tell? Because there's no one food that only has one component or one macronutrient in it, right? Like even a steak, which you count as even a steak, which you count as protein, has fats in it. So when you learn to eat in a balanced way, you don't have to count macros per se, because we know as we're eating balanced, we're getting the right portions of all the different macronutrients. So carbs, back to carbs. So you can, in the short term, cut carbs more than you normally would. Say if you have like a wedding coming up or a vacation coming up or something like that. It's not something that's sustainable for a really long time because, like I said, our brains function on carbs. You literally have to have carbs in your system to burn fats. It's like the flame on the candle, if that makes sense. It's just something that's necessary, but you can cycle it to lose a little bit more extra weight than you normally would. If you do it for a long time where you cut out carbohydrates, when you add them back in, your body will just gain the weight back. And I'll explain that a little bit. So when you cut carbs out, your body has to go into its muscles and use glycogen, like stored glucose is glycogen. And so you lose a ton of water weight. Carbs hold on to water, like 1 gram of carbs, I think, is like 4 grams of water or something. So you do lose a ton of water weight. If you do it the right way over a 3-week period, you also lose some fat because there's a fat storage there too. So the goal is to do it for like 3 weeks, knowing that a good portion of the weight that you originally lose is going to be water, and then you'll gain some of that water weight back, but the fat that you have lost won't come back. Does that make sense? So you, the cycle that I usually go with people is 3 weeks, not more than that. And you do 2 days of a carb depletion, and then 1 day of a normal day of carbs, and then 2 days of a carb depletion. Now, you will feel some withdrawal symptoms when you cut out carbs. Our bodies are super used to them, and they actually trigger like dopamine centers in our brain, just like a drug, like sugars and carbohydrates do that. So you can feel like brain fog, and you can feel tired. If those don't go away in the first couple of days, then I change it, and we do 1 day of carb depletion and 2 days with carbs. So what I'm saying is carbs are important for your body to function. Yep, you can cut them out for short periods of time if you're trying to hit a goal, but realize, like, when people cut carbs out in the beginning, a lot of that weight that you lose is water weight. But if you do it the right way, you can lose some fat along with the water weight. And then when you go back to your normal eating habits after you have done those 3 weeks, then the fat should stay off, and a little bit of that water weight comes back on. We need water in our bodies. We are a huge percentage of water. So water is a good thing. Of course, you don't want inflammation and extra stuff. Hey, Chris. So that's what carb cycling is. If people are looking at ways to sustainably, healthily cut carbs out for a little bit, knowing that you need to bring them on because our bodies function at a higher level when we do that. Other things about carbs, not all carbs are bad. There are carbs that are better for you than other carbs. I like to pick carbs that are going to help me stay fuller longer. So brown rices, quinoas. I love quinoa too because it also has some protein in it. But the empty carbs, the carbs that aren't giving you nutritional value at the same time, are the ones that I tend to stay away from. It's totally fine to have them once in a while. But not all carbs are bad. There's not one food group that's bad, right? You need all of them in a balanced way. So that's what I wanted to say to you today, because I've been reading all these magazine covers about, like, cut your carbs out, or even there's things about, carb cycling. Athletes need more carbs when they're going to do a workout. There's all sorts of things about carbs in the media, and I get asked questions a lot about it. So if you have more questions, feel free to comment below or to message me. I'm always happy to just chat with people about things that they've heard, or about questions that they might have. Thanks, Chris. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm going to finish my breakfast because I forgot to eat once I started talking. I'll see you guys soon.